Let's go Ravens! What if I told you that some of the biggest additions Baltimore could make this offseason aren't even available yet? That's right. While most fans are focused on the current roster, something very important just happened across the NFL that could completely change the market over the next few weeks. And if the Ravens are paying attention, there may be an opportunity to add proven veterans who could immediately strengthen key areas of the team. But here's where things get really interesting. Every move comes with a price. Do you continue trusting the young players you've spent years developing? Or do you bring in experienced veterans who could potentially help the team right away? That's the debate currently surrounding several intriguing names that have suddenly entered the conversation, and some of them could genuinely surprise Ravens fans. Before we break everything down, make sure you hit the like button if you believe the Ravens are closer to something special than most people realize. Let's show some positivity today because this fan base always brings incredible energy. And I want everyone watching to leave this comment below. Go Ravens! The future is bright in Baltimore. Let's see how many optimistic Ravens fans are here today because what we're about to discuss could tell us a lot about how this organization views its chances moving forward. Personally, I think this is one of the most important stages of the offseason. The reason is simple. Adding veterans only makes sense if they clearly improve the roster. If a player can genuinely help the team get better, it's worth considering. But if the young talent is ready to take the next step, sometimes patience is the smarter move. That's what makes these potential decisions so fascinating. Now let's talk about the names that could be entering Baltimore's radar and why the next few weeks might be much more important than people think. Minho opinio sobre o assunto, basado apenas no material enviado, que o equilibrio e o ponto principal. Os não citados trazem experiência e prática comprovada. Mas o próprio debate apresentado mostra que existe uma preocupação legítima com o desenvolvimento dos jogadores jovens. E o eco que a melhor decisão seria adicionar veterano apenas SEL e representar uma melhora clara e imediata, sem bloquear completamente o crescimento dos atletas mais novos. Exatamente esse conflito entre ganhar agora e desenvolver para o futuro que torna essa discussão tão interessante para os torcedores dos Ravens. The timing of this conversation could not be more interesting. June 1st has come and gone, and while many fans focus on what is happening on the field, there is another side of the NFL calendar that can dramatically change a roster. The post-June 1st period often creates opportunities for teams to make moves that were not financially practical before. And according to the information being discussed, the Ravens could now find themselves in a position to explore several intriguing veteran additions. One of the most fascinating names connected to that possibility is Jadeveon Clowney. This is a player Ravens fans know very well. The discussion points out that Clowney previously thrived in Baltimore's defensive system and enjoyed what was described as the best season of his career while wearing Ravens colors. Even after leaving Baltimore, he continued producing, recording 8.5 sacks last season. That production is exactly why his name continues to surface whenever conversations turn toward experienced pass rushers who could potentially help a contender. But there is a dilemma attached to a move like this. The Ravens already have young players at the edge rusher position. The question becomes whether the organization should continue investing heavily in developing younger talent or whether adding a proven veteran would better serve the team's immediate goals. That is not a simple decision. Every snap given to a veteran can potentially be a snap not given to a younger player who is still developing. At the same time, proven production is difficult to ignore. Another name generating attention is Arik Armstead. According to the discussion, his situation becomes particularly interesting because of the financial flexibility that exists after June 1st. The possibility of significant cap savings for his current team creates speculation that he could eventually become available. If that happens, Baltimore would likely be one of several teams evaluating whether his experience and production could strengthen their defensive front. What stands out about these conversations is the clear emphasis on improving the pass rush. The underlying theme is that veteran help could provide stability and experience while complementing the younger players already on the roster. The debate isn't necessarily about replacing anyone. It's about whether additional depth and proven production could elevate the entire unit. Then there's another topic that could divide the fan base even more, the possibility of adding Stefon Diggs. This is where the conversation becomes especially compelling. The argument presented is that Diggs would bring proven production and consistency to the wide receiver room. The discussion highlights his track record of producing over 1,000 receiving yards and points to his ability to contribute as an experienced veteran presence. At the same time, the exact same concern appears again. If Baltimore adds another established veteran receiver, what does that mean for the younger receivers currently trying to earn larger roles? The Ravens would have to balance immediate production with long-term development. It is the same philosophical question that appears throughout this entire discussion. Trust the young talent already in the building, or add proven veterans who can contribute right away. The report also mentions that there has already been public recruiting involving Diggs. Comments and interactions between players have only fueled speculation, creating even more interest among fans who wonder whether Baltimore could realistically pursue a move like that. While nothing is presented as finalized, it is enough to keep the conversation alive. What makes all of this so important is that the post-June 1st period often creates opportunities that did not previously exist. Players who seemed unavailable can suddenly become realistic targets. Teams that appeared locked into certain contracts can suddenly gain flexibility. And organizations looking for one or two final pieces can become aggressive if they believe the timing is right. Right now, Ravens fans are left with a fascinating question. Should Baltimore focus on developing the young talent already on the roster, or should they take advantage of this post-June 1st window and pursue proven veterans who could potentially make an immediate impact? The conversation doesn't stop there, Ravens fans, because the deeper you look into these potential additions, the more you realize that every decision Baltimore makes from this point forward could reveal exactly how the organization views its current roster. Take the edge rusher position, for example. The discussion surrounding Jadeveon Clowney wasn't simply about bringing back a familiar face. It was about confidence. Does the front office believe the current group is ready to carry a larger workload, or would adding someone with Clowney's experience provide an extra layer of security? That's the real question. Nobody is denying the talent of the younger players, but when you're trying to build the strongest possible roster, experience can sometimes become just as valuable as potential. And that's why Clowney remains such an interesting name. The argument presented was simple. He has already shown he can be productive, he already knows a similar defensive system, and he has proven he can contribute at a high level. The challenge, however, is determining whether those benefits outweigh the importance of continuing to develop younger talent that could be part of the team's future for years to come. The same logic applies when discussing Arik Armstead. What makes his situation particularly intriguing is that his availability isn't even guaranteed. The entire discussion revolves around the possibility that financial considerations could eventually make him available. If that happens, Baltimore would have another decision to make. Do you pursue a veteran who can help immediately, or do you continue trusting the players already in the building? What stands out is that none of these conversations are really about replacing players. They're about strengthening competition. Every veteran addition creates pressure throughout the roster. Every new signing forces players to earn their role. And sometimes that competition brings out the best in everyone involved. But if there is one name that could create the biggest reaction among Ravens fans, it is probably Stefon Diggs. The argument made for Diggs is centered around proven production. The discussion highlights his ability to consistently produce and points to the fact that he has remained a highly productive receiver over multiple seasons. That's difficult to ignore when evaluating possible additions to a receiving core. At the same time, the concerns are easy to understand. Baltimore has younger receivers on the roster who are still developing. Fans naturally want to see what those players can become. If a veteran arrives and immediately commands a significant role, it changes the opportunities available for everyone else. That creates another fascinating debate about balancing development with immediate competitiveness. The discussion also mentioned public recruitment efforts and interactions that have fueled speculation. While that doesn't guarantee anything will happen, it certainly adds another layer of intrigue. Fans notice those things. Players notice those things.